Responsibility has come to Chifundo far too early. She wants to learn to read and write, but there's simply no time for school. Instead, she takes care of her handicapped sister's household and works in the tobacco fields. Child labour isn't just a tobacco industry problem, it's fueled by poverty. Impoverished people become desperate, and for parents, child labour is about the balance between responsibility for one's children and survival. Malawi law is clear on child labour, but it's not the law that's in question, but rather how it's applied.
So far, we have, last year, the year ending December, we have prosecuted almost 600, close to 600 people.
Well, I would say that there are some people that have been prosecuted. We're talking about 600, but the children that are estimated to be working in the industry are close to 500,000. So 600 is nothing compared to 500,000. And these are children that are working through and through the year. So what I'm saying, there is something that is being done. It is very, very small. That is for a fact.
You know, what I would rather want to see is maybe the government putting pressure on the industry, you know, to contribute more towards the elimination of child labor.
In the tobacco growing industry in Malawi, tenant farming is spoken of, but compared to European conditions, it's more like serfdom. The growers don't own the land they cultivate, they grow tobacco for the landowners. Their pay is a share of what the landowner makes at auction, but only after deductions for food, seed and other supplies. The amount of kwacha left is minuscule. What is less talked about is the unspoken preference for families with children, whose labour has become a necessity.
We find a lot of children who are working in the tobacco industry, mainly during the harvesting of tobacco. This is where you find that, you know, children at that time are taken out of school by their parents who are usually working as tenants in the tobacco industry.
Only correct land use.
The tobacco industry is keen to promote its own anti-child labour organisation, the ECLT, which runs projects in schools. Many who work for the ECLT seem intent on preventing child labour, but compared to the size of the problem, the projects are extremely limited.
You say you've played your part by building a school. Surely you can do more than that.
Really, we can do more than that, but I think you also have to understand the social and economic situation of Malawi. You also alluded to say, in terms of poverty, most of these kids cannot go to school in their empty stomach, and most of them, they also need to work for them to survive. All along, we are saying that our farmers do employ the adults. In the context of the children being assisting their parents, if they are employed, that's a different case. But if they're assisting their parents, do you still say that's child labor?
Now, there's a lot of lip service about it, programs encouraging to build schools. But if they can make it mandatory that any parent or any household that is producing tobacco on their behalf does not employ children, or they will not buy that tobacco, that will be the first step in doing it.
The tobacco companies are not going to behave responsibly. The tobacco companies are only interested in increasing their profits. And we have to control the tobacco industry if we're going to reduce the harms caused by this industry. Some people have said in order to control malaria, you have to control the mosquito. If you want to reduce death and disease from tobacco and the economic harms of tobacco, you need to control the tobacco industry.